In this video I'll show you what I did to remove this piece of rust on my car. It was the first time I was doing this, and the point of this video is simply to show that even if you don't have any experience, it's actually not that complicated to get a good result. And by the way, this is how it looks when it was finished. As you can see, it's not 100% perfect, but for me, I was happy because I saved a tons of money. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing I did is to take this wire wheel brush attached to my drill. This way I'll be able to remove all the surface rust until I was able to see the bare metal. And by the way, always use gloves, eye protection, and also a respirator. I guess I could have used some sandpaper, but with this wire brush everything was a lot quicker. And by the way, I'll put links in the description with everything I use in this video or products that are similar that you can find on Amazon. Then I wiped everything with a cloth just to remove the dust. I took some 150 grit sandpaper. You just need a small piece here. And I used it on all the surface here, not only where the rust was, but also a bit around it as well. I did this to smooth the edges around the parts where I used the grinder, so it's more seamless. And I wiped all the dust away again. To protect the interior of the car and everywhere where I don't want the paint to go, I will cover this with this plastic wrap. I then pick up this isopropyl alcohol, this is 91%, just to remove any grease, any debris, or any contaminant from the surface before applying anything on it. Next step, I apply some rust reformer or rust converter directly on the bare metal, so the rust doesn't come back a few months after I do this. I didn't have any special techniques, I just watched some YouTube videos. I saw that swiping like this worked, so I just did it. Okay, so we are 24 hours later. This was the indication that was written on the can, to have a fully dry surface and continue working on it. Again, I will decontaminate the surface in case there is some grease or other stuff that went on it in the meanwhile, since I used the car. I also added some masking tape for extra safety, just to make sure that nothing goes above the line. Now it's time for me to use the filler primer. It's supposed to fill all these gaps that you can see, since the surface is not smooth at all. And on top of that, you can also sand it. Always follow the instruction on the can. This way we'll have a very smooth surface and it will look much better than what it is right now. I'll use a 400 grit sandpaper, since it's not as aggressive as the previous one, to smooth the surface. They say after 15 minutes I can wet sand it. Let's see. Yeah, there's some primers that came off, even if I waited almost 20 minutes and wet sand it as it was supposed. So yeah, maybe wait a bit more time then. I waited for it to dry and I give it another layer of primer. After it dried out, it looks fine for me. If for you it's not enough, you see there's some bumps here. If you want it to be perfectly smooth, just add another coat and sand it until you have the perfect smoothness. But for me it's fine, since there is a plastic trim that will hide this part anyway. Then I wiped everything with alcohol just to clean it. Then I took this can of paint that has the matching color of my car. You can find this in any auto shops. They will do it for you if you have the code of your color. I waited 10 minutes as indicated on the can and applied a second coat. And a third coat. I let it dry overnight, 24 hours, and just to remove the dust, because now the last step I did is to put some clear over everything so it protects and shine. So this is the clear I used. I never bought, so I got the first one I saw at my local auto shop. It was about 10 bucks. I ended up putting 3 coats of clear. I didn't film them all. And after letting the clear dry, this is the final result. Could have been better if I sanded more the primer, but I didn't mind because there's this plastic trim that hides a lot of the small bumps that remained. Just to remind you how it looked at the beginning, again, this video is simply to give you the courage to start this if you never done it, because I'm not a professional and probably neither are you. A body shop would have made a much better job, but honestly I didn't felt paying hundreds of dollars for this, since the car is already pretty old. So thanks for watching, leave a comment, a like, and I'll see you in the next one.